Hello and welcome to Share Views, where we tend to interview the hottest people, the most exciting opportunities in the small cap space. Today we have the Executive Chairman of Ferrum Crescent, Justin Tooth. How are you today, Justin?
I'm very well, thank you for having me.
Right, a lot of interest in your company from private investors, which is what I like to see. It makes the charting and the analysing and everything all the more exciting. What's the recent history of the company?
So the company has quite a long history and came to the market here in 2010. In those days I was working in the broking business, and so I was an advisor to the company. Then at the very end of last year, 2015, I joined the board as the non-executive chairman, and then in the first quarter of this year I proposed a new strategy, and I moved up to executive chairman, which makes me the managing director of the company, and we've started to bring in effect this new strategy.
Right, I mean, being slightly, I was going to say, it's not cynical, but well, try and work out, you can work out the word afterwards. Did you have any inkling that the turn of this year would be the turn of the mining sector to rebound after 5 years in the wilderness?
I had an inkling, I had a hope and a few prayers, but if that's the way you're calling it, Zach, I'm very happy to hear it.
So it was a happy coincidence as well as, I mean, I think a lot of people, that, the wise old heads in the mining sector that I've spoken to suggested that towards the end of last year it was just becoming ridiculous. It may have gone on a bit longer and things just kept on sinking, but a tipping point or a turning point looked as though it was, from those levels things were attractive.
Absolutely, and that was why our strategy was not just to rearrange the cost base and the management structure of the company, but actively to go and look at the opportunities that existed in the market. Our market cap was very low. We knew that and we knew why, but we felt that the real opportunity out there was to go and look for those cheap stories, to find an exciting subsector and go for it in that way.
Right, and in mining, apart from the sector being hot or not, the experience of the management seems to be key, because it's a difficult area, it's a complex area. You need a wise old head. Do you fit the bill? I'm
not old, but I'm not particularly wise, but I'm very enthusiastic, and I have been involved in the mining sector for some time. We have an excellent board. We're a board of 4, 1 metallurgical engineer, 1 metallurgist and project engineer, an accountant who's our company secretary, and then in the management team we've got people that come from the geological spheres and the public relations, investor relations spheres as well.
Right, I mean, from my knowledge of the company, before just my limited viewpoint, just looking at the whole market, I tried to follow what is in focus within private investors. They seem to be focused on the Moonlight project and on zinc, and that's why your company is loved and adored at the moment.
Yes, the Moonlight is our prime project. We have a mining right down there on a large asset in the Limpopo region. A mining right is obviously a more developed and valuable asset than just an exploration right, and that has its own story, and that's been with us throughout the process of the company, hence the name Ferrum Crescent. But the subsector that we decided to go for was the zinc space, because we think we are correct in forecasting a bull market in zinc, and this year thus far that has been the case. And so we set out to go and look for a cheap asset to which we could add value in a very efficient way.
And you were trawling around presumably before the big spike in zinc prices?
Yes, we were. My contention is that the zinc prices have still got quite a way to go, but we were looking, and in fact not just at zinc, as part of that process, while we were formulating the strategy, we looked at precious metals as well as industrial metals. We looked at production assets, we looked at brownfield sites, and where we felt most confident was to find something that was extremely good value, but also had a wealth of data and a wealth of history around it to which we could easily add value without having to raise vast quantums of money to turn that into a resource.
Right, and you're in Spain, northern Spain, with the zinc. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so Spain is a fantastic country for mining. There are many companies that your investors will know that are already there. We're in the north of Spain, as you correctly say, and we have 2 projects there. The Toral project, which is in the province of León, already a very busy mining district with historic mining that goes back all the way to the Romans that extracted most of their gold, in fact, from just up the road from us at Las Medulas. And then we're also in Galicia, just to the west of us, and the second project we have there is called Largo.
Right, and those are company-changing assets?
I believe so, yeah. The second project, Largo, is still early exploration target, but we're very excited by previous findings there. Toral was mined historically in the past. It has a lot of adits and development in it, but we're taking on a previous geological model and looking to reassess that to make a company changer, as you say.
Right, you've got listing on the ASX and on AIM. How does that work for you?
Yeah, we actually also have a third listing in South Africa, amazingly. The South African listing is frankly a function of our Black Economic Empowerment scheme that we have down there. We're an Australian company, and that's very fundamental to the way in which we operate, the way in which we report, and the way in which we act internally. But when the company came to market here, it was because at that time, and even now, there's more appetite at the junior end via the AIM market and the AIM investors to fund projects like ours.
Right, just a technical question from somebody called Fireman Sam, who is not only doing that, but clearly in your stock as well. Share consolidation, you've got lots of shares in issue. Is that going to be sorted out?
We do have quite a lot of shares in issue, under 2 billion. And that is, frankly, a function of a long history and the fact that the company was in iron ore, which suffered over a protracted period, as you referred to initially. In my view, we haven't announced any stock consolidation process. My personal view is that a lot of stock consolidation processes can actually reduce the market cap of the company, but over the long term, it can be helpful in certain eyes to reduce the number of shares, but we have no immediate plans to do so.
Speaking of shares and maybe shareholders, I mean, institutional investors, what's your relationship with them, and can you tell us about them?
Yeah, I come from the institutional background, and I did 25 years in the institutional space, so I have a lot of connectivity, in particular with mining investors. At the moment, our shareholder register is very largely retail. We are, I think, now at a point, we are soon at a point of inflection whereby our story and our size and our ability to deliver real news flow with regards to resource development will make us very attractive to institutions. And I'm very keen to get our story and get my teeth back into them.
Right. I mean, obviously you can't jump the gun on what you have to announce through official channels, but what's the next type of news, or where are we looking to over the next, let's say, the rest of the year?
Sure. Well, on both projects, I expect to have news flow. So within Moonlight, I believe that we will have a good announcement by the end of the year. We have been busy down in South Africa. We're still conducting studies, and I think that there are developments within the iron ore and the steel space to which our ore body and our kind of relationships down there can deliver real value. But as you say, I have to be pretty broad and thematic about that until we get over the line with that kind of voyage of discovery. With regard to the zinc, well, we've now finally got the zinc assets on board by the acquisition of this company, Goldquest. We had a 6-month option to acquire it, during which we did a lot of due diligence and got a lot of opinion on what it was we were getting, but also the vending company, at our behest and with our funding, tidied up a lot of historic liabilities and what have you. So we've now achieved that. It actually, in the end, took closer to 8 months rather than the 6 months to conclude. But that time was well spent. So we've had people on the ground there this week, and we will logically be about to announce the work program there. We've already actually, in our presentation back from last month, September, which is on the website, we've delineated the various stages of the work program that we're going to do. And so what I think people should expect from us is the delivery on those particular items.
And just finally, a lot of new talk clearly about the weakness of sterling, about the strength of the euro, and there's that, the currency issues, and also the issues of if zinc doesn't continue to soar. I mean, how affected are you by those moving prices?
Weak sterling is actually positive for us. We are Aussie dollar denominated. Of course, as we move in, as we get to be perceived as a zinc play, and by the way, there really aren't very many zinc plays out there. The one or two that are out there, they're not listed on AIM, have done very well recently, I think, with the fact that zinc has moved up by 50%. So I don't think we're a Brexit-sensitive story. We're going to thrive by management delivering on the targets that we've set and by communicating those clearly to the market.
Justin Tooth, Executive Chairman at Ferrum Crescent, thank you very much for speaking with me today.
Thank you, Zach. Thank you very much.
That's it for Share Views. See you again next time.